Hey, it's Stan in After Effects here with a new video tutorial. This is actually my first video tutorial, but in this episode I will be showing you how to make a beam using my new preset Easy Beam version 2. So here, take a look. This is what we're going to be doing. Alright, so I know what you're thinking. Why am I always wearing pajamas when I do these beam videos? So first, what you want to do is download the project, or sorry, the preset from this website. The link is in the description. You wait a minute, even though clearly it says 45 seconds right here. Then you want to download it, and once you download it, you should save it to your desktop, and you'll have this. And once you open it, you'll see two things, which is this text file, which just tells you how to install the preset. I'm going to tell you real quick though. You want to copy this folder, and then you want to go for PC, you go to your hard drive, program files, Adobe, After Effects CS5.5, support files, and down to presets, and you want to paste it in here. And see, I already have it, so I'm good. Alright, then what you want to do after that is open After Effects, and I have it open here. And now I'm just gonna show you how to make a video with it. So here is my template, and it starts at 7, I already know. So here it is. It's just one sec. Oops. So this is me just standing there shooting the beam. Very nice movement by me. And alright, and so let's get started. I'm just changing my frame rate to save us some time. Alright, so what you want to do first is make a new solid by going layer, new, solid, and make it comp size, and let's just call this Easy Beam, or just beam, or really doesn't matter. So then what you want to do is come over to your effects and presets panel and type in Easy Beam, and you'll see that there's Easy Beam version 1 or version 2, and you could also go into your animation presets, support files, presets, and Dan Cramp presets. And you just want to take this Easy Beam version 2 and drag it on here, and right away you'll see that you already got a nice beam going, and it just loops. And so there's a lot of new features in this from the as opposed to the new one. You actually have a start and end point, so you can choose where it starts and ends. You have the extend function, which at default it's at 100, but as you turn it down, you can see that the beam moves away and it leaves the ball, but the beam will come out. And then you have the color function, which of course lets you change the color. I'm actually going to change it to a dark bluish color, like that. You have the glow function, and if you crank that up, you can see what that does. Yeah, I wouldn't really go past, I'd probably say maybe 75 at minimum, but depending on how you want it, you can make it brighter or not. I'm just actually going to put that on 140 for now. Thickness, it's just how big it is or how small it is. So, and the animate off function, so as you turn that up, it just fades the beam off from start to end. So that's when you're finally trying to get rid of it. So first, I'm going to just close that layer, find the point where I want the beam to officially be completely on, and I want it to be right here. So first I'm going to move my start point to here and my end point off the screen, and that looks about good. And so what I want to do to animate it on, because I don't want it, you can see it's just always here, like it never goes away or anything. So what you want to do is you want to go to the right time, you want to keyframe your thickness and your extend, and then with your layer selected down here, you hit U to bring up the keyframes. And I'm actually gonna just, you see all that, there's a lot of stuff going on down there, and that's just, you don't want to touch that stuff. That makes the effect do what it does. So you want to take the extend keyframe, and I'm just gonna move it by about a frame forward. Then you go back 6 frames, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then you want to, and then what you want to do is take the thickness and just turn that all the way down. And you also want to take the extend and turn that all the way down. I'm just going to move the extend off by a frame. And then what you can do is you take the extend, and you can either hit F9 or go to keyframe assistant, easy ease, and basically now it's going to start out slow and kind of speed up as it goes off. And I also want to do for this second keyframe for the thickness, so that it starts getting big faster and then it slows down at the end. And that's basically it for the start. Maybe move it over a bit more. There, that looks better. And yeah, you see how there's a little dot there. To get rid of that, you just go to the first keyframe with the layer selected, hit Alt, left bracket, and that'll trim your layer up, or you can just manually drag it, but I'm just going to use Alt bracket. Alright, and so you see, now you got a nice beam, but then when you get to the end, and you want it to stop. So I want it to stop start to stop right about there. So I'm going to keyframe the animate off, and then once again if you hit U, it'll bring up your keyframe. And then go forward about 6. Actually, I'm going to turn up this initial value, because basically what it does is it starts from here and goes over, or at least starts and goes towards the end. So it doesn't actually start from the start point, it goes from here. So if we set this to about 50, that's probably a good place, or 45, because then it's starting more like here and then going, so then we get a true animate off. So if we go forward about 5 or 6 frames, alright, and turn that up to 100, now it's gone. And that looks good. Maybe move it over a frame, or other way. There. That looks good. But you see now, see it's in the right place here, but then I kind of lean into it, and now my hands are inside it. So what I'm going to do, let's go back to here, where it looks good, Jim Dandy. Keyframe the start point, move to the end, and just reposition it so that looks good. Alright, so now it'll move. That looks good. Alright, and then it goes off. So that's actually it. That's all there is to it. Now we can just preview this, see what that looks like. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. And that took us, what, like a few minutes? And now, another thing is, you see in this video, it goes behind the chair, and if you don't know how to do that, it's pretty simple. What you can do is you make another solid, and you make it comp size, and we'll just call this one matte, M-A-T-T-E, turn that layer off, and basically you just want to draw around the shape of this chair. I'm just making it really rough because I've already done this. So basically you want to go in, I mean you can go in, mask out all these little holes and make it perfect, but then what you want to do, I'm going to actually feather it a bit, just about like 9. And then you want to set this to alpha inverted, and that means wherever this layer is, this layer isn't. So it'll give the appearance that it's going behind. And if you increase this, it actually might look better just because it looks like it's kind of glowing around the edges. And then you can even go into the mask settings. Oh, and to bring up the feathering for this mask, you just hit F on your keyboard. And then to bring up the other, you just double tap M. So bring that in a bit. Alright. And that looks kind of good. I mean, just for another rough. Alright, and then the last thing is, you may have noticed there's another thing in there called wiggle controls. And I'll show you exactly what you can do with that. So what you can do is you pre-compose this, move all attributes, and just call this firing a beam. And then you can drag the wiggle controls onto that. And what they do, oh, I just realized that looks bad. So what you can do is you can either drag that completely down. Well, anyways. So when you add the wiggle controls, you'll see that all this stuff comes up, and you can close anything that's below the actual wiggle controls. And there's amount per second, which means, well, basically what it is it wiggles the position, or it shakes it. It shakes the whole thing. So if I go through, you can see that it's shaking. And so what you can do is it gives you the option for amount per second. So that's how many times a second that it'll shake. Amount of movement, which is by how many pixels it'll move. So right now it'll move by 50 pixels 5 times a second. And here's an option to repeat edge pixels. And that can be helpful, but in some cases, like here, see, now you start to see the beam up top and the top of my head, and that just doesn't look good. And maybe you want to turn it off depending on what you're doing. I'm actually going to keep it on for now. And then in the wiggle advanced controls, they're not for advanced people, but they're just, yeah. So you can unclick the vertical wiggle, which just means it'll shake horizontally, or vice versa. You can unclick the horizontal and only shake vertically. I'm going to have them both checked right now. And one issue I can see right now is that at the top, his head gets cut off and the beam comes in. So what you can do is you go into the position of this layer, and you just, you can subtract 50 from the Y, because it's not going any farther than 50. And that way, it'll automatically take off. So you'll never see them both. I'm actually just gonna add 5. But that's basically how you get it from cutting off. And now you see there's kind of an issue there. And yeah, you could scale it up a bit. Or another way you could do it, since we don't, first off, we don't want it to shake the whole time. We want it to shake when the beam's here. So go to about where the beam starts, which is probably there, and keyframe the amount of movement. Or we'll go back 1 frame with that. Change this to 0. Go forward about 6 frames, like that much, until it's like fully on, and I'll turn it up to 50. And I'll go to the end, and I'll set another keyframe and go forward to about there. Set it back to 0. And then what what you can do is also keyframe the position. So now we have the position and the amount of movement. And if we go back to here, keyframe the position and set it back to 360 and 640, then you won't really notice as much when it moves up. I mean, you might, because of this scenario, because the beam is at the top of the screen and my head goes off, the repeat edge pixels may look weird and you might want to just scale the thing up. But in your case, it might not be the same. But basically, the wiggle controls just makes it a lot easier to control camera shake or wiggle. And so this is what it looks like. And that's all there is actually to it. You can add a color correction, just make a new adjustment layer, add curves, pull down the brightness, punch up the contrast, turn up the blue, maybe a little less red. Yeah, that looks better. And so that's it. That's all there is to it. That didn't take very long. So make sure you remember to subscribe and comment on these videos and tell me if there's anything you're not sure about or anything you may request a tutorial as well. And I guess I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.